kind of switch this up a little bit. I know we've been having a structured lecture where Monday was our lecture, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday was more of our SSR interactive activities, Friday was more of our quiz, but we're kind of switching it up. And I feel like this is the best class considering that when I'm in ISS, first half of the day, I can't really teach those students. You know what I mean? So we're going to go ahead and move on with this. So we talked about civil rights and civil liberties, okay? Your civil rights, this talks about discrimination, okay? We talked about race, gender, sex. These are things that you have as a right as a human and can't be discriminated by. Civil liberties were your freedoms that you have in the First Amendment. Does anybody know what the First Amendment is?
Freedom of speech,
freedom of
press,
speech.
and religion.
Well, okay, what? Freedom of speech, freedom of religion,
Freedom of press.
freedom of the press,
And petition.
the right to speech, to assemble, and the right to petition. Okay, perfect. We got that. Cool. So remember your quiz. Okay, if time permitting, we'll have a quiz on Friday if we're here, which we probably won't be. But just be ready for a quiz at some point when we get all squared off again. And this, if you looked at your week 5 choice board, this is something that we need to reiterate. And choice board activities doesn't really explain, but we're going to talk about the Reconstruction Amendments. Okay, these are also known as the Civil Rights or Civil War Amendments. Okay, anybody know anything about the Civil War?
It was
Yes.
So
the Union and the Confederacy, all right, we talked about a little bit earlier, we talked about the system and forms of government, but these ultimately had to do with, your civil rights and civil liberties. And this video I'm going to show you, it's about 4 minutes long. It's kind of going to give you a brief synopsis of what it is, but then I'll break it down in layman terms for you, okay? So we'll go ahead and play this video real quick, and hopefully by the end of this class period, we will know what the Reconstruction Amendments are.
Hello everybody. Today we will continue learning about the amendments in the Constitution. As we remember from last time, the Constitution is the supreme law of the land. It lays out how the government is to be set up into 3 branches and also lays out the rights of our citizens. We've already talked about the first 12 amendments, focusing specifically on the first 10, known as the Bill of Rights. In this video, we will be discussing the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments. The 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments are known as the Reconstruction Amendments. After the Civil War, the U.S. was trying to fix the country, specifically the South. This era is known as Reconstruction, a time after the Civil War when the U.S. was changing slave-holding southern states. This includes building schools and giving land to formerly enslaved African Americans. A large part of Reconstruction was giving more legal rights to African Americans. This brings us to our amendments. The 13th Amendment was the first, ratified just after the end of the Civil War. It reads, "Neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as punishment for crime whereof the party shall have been duly convicted, shall exist within the United States or any place subject to their jurisdiction." As you can see, this amendment outlaws the slavery that had been prominent in southern states since the beginning of America. This is a big deal. Millions of African Americans that at one point had no hope of being free were now able to live their own lives and not answer to a plantation owner. However, now that African Americans were no longer slaves, what were they? To us, it would seem obvious that they would become citizens. However, it wasn't that easy back then. There were still a lot of prejudices concerning the role of African Americans and what role they would play in the U.S. This is where the 14th Amendment comes in. The 14th Amendment is quite long, but one section sums it up quite nicely. All persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and the state of where they reside. No state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States, nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor deny to any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the laws. This amendment is very important because it establishes citizenship. Not only that, but it protects citizens from unjust laws made by the state. Though we would see this rule be broken in the U.S. numerous times, such as Jim Crow laws, it is important because it does not only establish citizenship, but it also protects it. So now everyone, regardless of race, is a citizen, but there are still some issues. Especially in southern states, African Americans are being denied the right to vote. This is something that we consider crazy in today's terms. What do you mean that people are being denied the right to vote based on race? The 15th Amendment sets out to deal with this. And so, the 15th Amendment reads, "The rights of citizens of the United States to vote shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or by any state on account of race, color, or previous condition of servitude." So, with this amendment, black men are given the right to vote. Remember, women could not yet vote. That amendment would come much later. However, now African American men could have their own voice in the political system, a huge part of being part of a democratic country. Though problems existed for African Americans beyond these amendments, the Reconstruction Amendments gave African Americans a place in the U.S. As you leave this video, think of why these were important amendments. Think about how these affected the lives of African Americans in the United States. What other challenges do you think existed beyond these amendments? Keep these in mind as we move forward in talking about the Constitution. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in class.
All right. Okay, so this question asks you to open-ended question. You should have accessibility to actually type in your answer, okay? Notice this is a quick free test. We'll go more into a formative assessment later on in the week. So, I'm not going to say there is a wrong answer, but there is a wrong answer, okay? So, I'm going to give you some time. Feel free to answer this question. What is the 13th Amendment based on what you just saw? Good, looking good. Yeah. All right, halfway there. Good, everybody's right. Good, right. No question. That's right. It's a minute. I don't think that's the answer. So far, so good. All right, with the exception of one in which I know for a fact her laptop isn't working. The others, we have one more. No pressure. All right, awesome. So collectively, I'm pretty sure we got all this right. What did the 13th Amendment abolish? Slavery. Beautiful. It's amazing. All right, here next. What was the 14th, or what is the 14th Amendment? It's still here. It's in the Constitution. Oh, I see some stunned faces. Yes. Good? Okay, back here. Stop. So this provides just because different rights. Yes, sir. Yes, looking good. I'm glad you took care of it. And then you know the next time. All right, we're good here. All right, let's take a look. Establish citizenship to all U.S. citizens born on soil, U.S. soil. Equality, no one's discriminated. Citizenship protects people's citizenship if they were. Whoever's born in the U.S. About protection of all citizens. All right, yeah, so pretty much what you need to know here is equal protection of the law. No matter what race you are, what sex you are, what gender you are, this is really pertaining those who were slaves, African Americans. It gave rights and freedoms to everybody. Okay, no one's discriminated. Okay, so it didn't matter who you were. Now remember, women weren't really thought of during this time. Okay, we'll talk about it in a sec. But this is really, when we talk about citizens, this is really men and slaves were entitled to equal protection of the law. So that pretty much sums up the 14th Amendment. The next one is the 15th Amendment. Okay, this helped a particular group of people become citizens. Which were at the time women. Yes, ma'am. Okay, please help them out. What were they during the Civil War time? Yes, I understand. Yes. Correct.
I wish mine was
That? Is that? If I have one, I can. All right, almost there. I think just by walking around the classroom, the majority of us knew this one already. All right, so we'll look at this right here. So, as a class, what did the 15th Amendment do?
Former slaves, the right to vote.
Former slaves, the right to vote, which at the time were African American males. Moving on. All right. So take a look at this right here. Okay? You should be able to use your Chromebooks to go around. Y'all ever seen a 360 picture?
Yeah.
Take a look around it and tell me what you think it is.
A monument.
Okay, it is a monument.
It's Abraham Lincoln Memorial.
I think somebody said it over here. What? Okay. That's not the Mona Lisa.
I said it.
Way off.
Oh, that's where the president got elected.
The needle.
That's where the president got elected. That's George Washington.
All right, so somebody tell me by raising their hand what this picture displays. Somebody raise their hand. What is it? Yes, Joseph. Yes, did y'all hear that over here? I don't think you did. What was it? Lincoln Memorial, okay?
I was right.
You're right, I know. I was making sure over here. So, who was Lincoln? Abraham Lincoln, okay? Abraham Lincoln. Does anybody know what number president he was? 16. Does anybody know what form of currency he's on too? Yeah, $5 bill and penny. You ever seen that? That's Abraham Lincoln. All right, he was known for something called the Emancipation Proclamation. Do y'all know what that was? Roughly?
I think that's when he outlawed slaves to free slaves.
Pretty much, this is where he pretty much wrote a whole proclamation or a statement saying, this is during the third year of the Civil War. The Civil War lasts from 1861 all the way to 1865. In January 1st, 1863, he came out with the Emancipation Proclamation. Remember, the Civil War was a bloody war. And the worst thing about it, it was between the United States versus the United States. The North, or the Union, and the South, or the Confederacy. Okay? Now, only one thing, in the majority of the South, slaves were pretty much a part of life. They were owned by farm owners, and they pretty much were not considered citizens until this Reconstruction Amendment where the 14th and 15th Amendment came in. Okay? Now, does anybody know who won the Civil War?
The North.
The North of the Union, okay?
The Yankees.
That's
Yes.
us, right?
Huh?
That was us, right?
No, we were South.
Oh.
Okay? So, what happened, Abraham Lincoln proclaimed this. He came up with the Emancipation Proclamation, pretty much gave freedom to slaves, former slaves, to where they can finally be citizens. And that's where the 15th Amendment, 14th, and 13th came in. There is a memorial in Washington, D.C. If you ever look, it's a stone statue where he's sitting. That's Abraham Lincoln. There's your history lesson for today. All right, moving on. All right, so we watched the video. We pretty much reiterated everything. So this is specifically what it states in the Constitution. Okay? I'm just going to read section 1. So neither slavery or involuntary servitude, meaning working for somebody, except as a punishment for crime, meaning jail, whereof the party shall been duly convicted, shall exist within the United States in any place subject to the jurisdiction. Okay? So the 13th Amendment abolished what?
Slavery.
Perfect. All right, 14th Amendment. This is kind of paraphrased. It's kind of long in the Constitution document over there, if you want to look at it. Basically, the 14th Amendment provided what? Protection to who? Former slaves? There is no civil rights and liberty. There is no discrimination. It doesn't matter if you're a slave, it doesn't matter if you're black, it doesn't matter if you're white. Whatever the case is, you cannot be discriminated. Everybody has equality. Everybody has rights. Equal protection of the law. Perfect. Okay? And then lastly, the 15th Amendment. What did that do?
And not allow former slaves to vote.
So former slaves or current slaves, when they were going through the process of becoming free citizens, they were granted the permission and chance to vote, just like we do nowadays. Okay? So there should be a quiz that pops up in front of you. It's 3 questions. It's literally reiterating 13th, 14th, and 15th. Answer the questions, and everybody gets 100 for a daily grade. How about that? Yeah?
Yeah. Let's go. How you get 6 incorrect? We just
Somebody may have clicked the wrong one.
ABC. So 8 people clicked on.
Probably. It's okay.
Come on, 3. Come on, Gio. We just went over this.
All right. Here we go. We got 9 questions that are not answered. So let's finish that up. All right, 3 more questions. Who's up? Who's up? Somebody go ahead and answer those for me.
They're going back and answering copying theirs.
As long as we all get it, it's okay.
Just got up right here.
Submit your answers.
Well, why is he still there? He's making our class average go down. Hey, bro, guys, you want to print that? Whatever you can hold it.
Awesome. All right, so we're good. So the first question, what did it say? This amendment abolished slavery, which was the
13.
Okay, the next one provided equal protection of the law to all citizens. This was the what amendment? 14th. And the 15th Amendment did what?
Allowed current slaves to vote.
Allowed current and former slaves the right to vote. Okay, now y'all ever seen this guy? OxyClean, Flex Tape.
That's Billy Mays, isn't it?
Awesome. Okay. Yeah. All right. So, but wait, there's more. Okay, so we talked about the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment. This was the civil rights, okay, Civil War amendments, okay? But somebody was left out in the picture. We've just been talking about men. Who have we left out? Ladies, hello. Hello. Without them, we wouldn't be here, guys. All right, so look. So, listen. So the 19th Amendment, so we talked about the 15th Amendment gave former slaves the right to vote. The 19th Amendment allows somebody else to vote. Who do you think they were?
Women.
All right, let me see these pictures.
It gives me the option to do that.
You can use colors, everything. Yeah. No, do not upload a picture. I see some of y'all clicking Google search. No.
Can you do that?
Yeah, you can. Oh, beautiful picture. I've never seen so many stick figures in my life. That looked like a ninja.
Hey, Coach B, dude, you guys go around and look at mine. What? That's an amazing Coach B, scroll down real quick.
Oh, one minute.
All right.
Wow, Gio, she got some long hair. Good. Okay, good progress.
Do you like it?
I made mine look like it was holding up a little. Wait, how did I do the second time? I remember the first time I burned you. What was the second time? That was what was the first time? I remember I did my arm. Remember I did my arm. Whatever you did to your arm. That was your fault. You tackled me on the floor.
Some of you have already done, so I'm kind of worried what your pictures look like.
My picture. Wait, you haven't even started.
I think some of you close your eyes and just. Perfect.
Can you make your picture bigger?
Yeah.
How'd you do that? It's not. Oh gosh. How'd you do that? Oh. I didn't know it was a thing.
Oh, we're supposed to make them voting?
Oh wow.
No, I thought we just had to go That was pretty
cross her legs.
I don't know what I did.
Oh, I like the color. Whoever did that.
I can't do it.
I like it too.
I like it. It's good. Very festive. Perfect. I like it. I like it. Good. Submit your working parts. Good. I like it. Good. Yes, sir. That's right. She's cute. Oh, nice.
You didn't hit yes.
He's drawing. I'm proud of you.
Me too. I'm
proud. All right, so those of you who are taking a little bit longer, I'm assuming it's going to be a masterpiece.
Yo, scroll down, you're gonna see a match.
Colored, everything.
I'm a blue person.
Nice.
I am draw person.
Let's see those beautiful drawings.
Good.
That's your look. Look, it looks like she's going for like a teeth.
See that? Oh, we're going to Pineda for the dance. You're going to Saturday, pick up my knife. She did all the dance.
All right, guys, start submitting. Let's start submitting. Nice. Look at that.
What's color? That's good.
That's good.
She has the body of a fish.
You won't.
You won't. Will you submit it? No, you won't. I don't believe you. Submit it.
I give you about 20 more seconds and we're submitting.
Submit it. You won't.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, stop. Everybody hands up. And waving like you just don't care. All right, good job. Good job. Good job. Good job. All right, now let's look at these beautiful drawings. All right, here we go. We're not going one by one. We're just looking through. Hey, look, we got a selfie. Even though me and D'Angelo are not women, but okay. All right. Okay. Oh, that's nice. Women, vote, yes, yes, yes. Nice. Vote. No hair. Here. Nice. Girl, okay. All right, good job, guys. Do something in. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. All right. All right, that was awesome. All right, so look, check this out. So to close our lesson, there's two things we can do. Okay, you have a poll in front of you. The first thing we can do, you see this green piece of paper. You're thinking, Coach P, when the heck do we have paper on the board? Okay, so what we just did, we just went over some amendments. Your first choice, we can create our own amendments, like our own rules and regulations and our freedoms as a class, or we can spend the rest of class, really five or so minutes, and push until Monday to work on our choice board activities. So, you guys vote.
What?
We can work on, for the last 5 minutes of class, we can make our own amendments, or we can go ahead and start working on our choice board activities. Since this took the majority of the class period, we're going to push the deadline to Monday. Alright, there's 20% here. Let's vote. Vote, vote, vote. Okay. Alright, it's about 50-50 so far. That remaining 12% will decide what we're doing.
Hey, is Kate coming? Is she coming again?
9%, there's like 2 or 3 people that vote. Your vote matters.
She can take your house?
50-50, I'll fix it. Alright, one more.
What?
So one person didn't get their vote in. Whoever did. Preston. Huh?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Okay. All right, class. So, oh, nice. All right, so look. So based on this, just over half of you, it's kind of split 50-50. Oh, it is split 50. Okay, so you got 50% want to continue working on our week 5 choice board. 47% wants to create amendments. So if you chose your week 5 choice board activity, congrats, you won.
I think
Okay.
it's actually like
So we got about 4 minutes left of class. If you guys want to look over your work, please do. But again, the due date has been pushed from Friday to Monday. Okay. Also, listen. Be ready to take a quiz probably Monday, Tuesday next week over these 3 amendments. But we did also on that. Yeah, on these 3 amendments. Okay. Cool. Awesome.
I think it's that.
Oh yeah, we gotta put this back.
If you have a Chromebook from another room, please put it back.
They're all from Miss Worley's room. You get a yellow sticker.
Right next door, guys.